Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Expanse, Season 2, Episode 12. It's called The Monster and the Rocket. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. But this show needs to stop with the cliffhangers, because
I know it's every time.
I just, like, every time, like, they give us this hook, and I know TV's supposed to do that, right? There's supposed to be some kind of hook for the next one, but it feels like this show's just been giving us these big things, and maybe we didn't notice it last year, or last season, because we were watching it one per day, so it wasn't a big...
Perhaps, but they feel more drastic at least.
Yeah, so, the Proto-Sapien, as I coined him last week, is on the ship.
Yeah.
Snuck on the ships on the Rassi. So
I'm not surprised. You kind of see it coming.
yeah, it's not like out of nowhere, but there it is.
It's like, damn, next week. Next week you can tell it's a season final. It's like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be big.
I'll say this: I am really glad that by the end of the episode, Holden made a pleasant choice, because he was being really dickish most of this one.
My favorite bit was to Prax. He goes, "Don't talk down to me, plank guy." That cracked me up.
That wasn't the funniest line for me, though.
Was it not?
I think Avasarala took the comedy awards in this episode. There was like twice she made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, she was pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure both of them had F-bombs in them as well.
They did, but that's the thing. I kind of expect that from her now. Like, I'm used to her, dropping those.
Oh, that's
Whereas
true.
Holden's one, where it was just came out of nowhere, just really caught me off guard and made me laugh.
No, it was when she goes up to her, and she takes Draper with her along with her guy, and they go up to the ship to meet Mao, and Mao steps in and he's about to start his James Bond-esque villain monologue and make the small talk, and like he doesn't even finish his first sentence, like just get to the goddamn point, like just instantly, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, so we'll start on Ganymede. We had the Rassi searching for the Proto-Sapien. And yes, I know scientifically that doesn't actually work, that name. Some people pointed that out in the comments, but it's catchy. Alright?
That's more important.
That is more important. But, so they're searching, and they're in the ship, they're not out in the... I thought they'd be out in the ground in suits, but fair enough.
I thought that at first too, but then I was like, the ship's probably more efficient.
Well, until they get to the inside the building, and the ship's like barely squeezing through.
Okay, until that.
Yeah. Admittedly, like, how well would they be able to climb all the stuff in there if they're out in the suits? I suppose it's debatable as well, but
yeah,
they're searching for it, and despite repeatedly being offered reasons why not to continue, Prax wants to think, oh, maybe that's my daughter, or maybe it's some other kid that's became this thing, so maybe we can try and reason with it because it's not held captive anymore. And Holden's like, no, I was on Eros, shut up, plant guy. And then Alex keeps giving him reasons, like, look, all the ships here, like, a ship just got blown up. Other ships are coming by, because at one point, like, a ship almost, like, sees them, and he's like, right, we need to hide for, like, 20 seconds, if that.
Keep out of range.
Yeah, keep out of range for 20 seconds, and Holden's pissed, because they're not pursuing. It's like, you're going to be shot down.
I know, like, a little bit of patience in your hunt.
Yeah, he's definitely on edge.
I don't think he makes a very good hunter. He doesn't have the patience for it.
No, he doesn't. He's fighting with passion.
Yeah.
Rather than like mind, or rather with even smarts. He's not considering the options at this point. He's almost bigoted towards this thing.
It's just an obsession at this point.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad that by the end of the episode he makes the right call. Like, Alex does talk sense into him and ask the question: our family needs our help. We need to go. Which of course leads us nicely to the Alex and. Not Alex, sorry. Naomi and Amos's side of things, where they go back to the ship, the Somnambulist, and Melissa's still not happy to see them, of course, but Naomi convinces her, look, your ship's falling apart, I need to fix it, I'm the only one who can fix it, I want to help save some of these people.
Because the guy that she's got fixing it at the minute was shit.
In fact, I think the implication that it was actually the station that was making the power go out because the power was wonky, but it happened right after like she was telling me he didn't know what he was doing, so I thought it was actually him at first. I thought he'd tripped a wire and oh shit, no power throughout the entire ship.
Yeah. But I don't think he was doing the right thing anyway. So.
Yeah, no, sure. So that becomes a thing, and all the people start building up outside the ship. And Melissa had been kept saying, "Right, you help hold people back and keep them in order. We'll make sure you get priority passage kind of thing. And they mention the ship can hold about 300 people. But along the way, they discover that the air resupply station on Ganymede is not working. It's broke. It's been shut off. Whatever. It's not going to give them anything. They have enough air for 52 people.
Yes.
They work
Someone's
out.
a DC fan.
Apparently so. Although, I guess everyone uses the same amount. I was just thinking, like, if you had kids, would you get a little bit? Like, if it was all kids, could you squeeze a few more?
Maybe a little bit of leeway, but probably not enough that they'd won't bother risking it.
But of course, this is where Amos and even Melissa, who wanted to help people, was like, if we open that door again, we can't. Like, if we say we can only take 52 people, they're just going to like charge on board, and we're all going to die. And Naomi's just desperate. She is not willing to just let people die. She's and she keeps watching the monitor. And at one point, like one of the refugees is holding up a baby to the camera. Look, baby, save us! Don't leave us to death, please. And it also builds to an emotional moment where she says, "Screw this! I'm going out there and I'm talking to them." Now, she is smart enough about it that she doesn't just open both doors, because she goes to the airlock and she makes sure the door behind her is locked before she goes out. And the big guy that's been like tasked with keeping people at bay, like, grabs her and starts demanding things and so on. And she convinces him, "Look, I was on Eros. I seen how this is," and she explains, "There's only 52 spots. We can't take everyone. We have to pick.
It's 52 or none."
Yeah, and she even offers her spot up for him.
Yeah.
She says, "You help me sort this out. You can have my spot. I'll stay behind." And I actually like what this led to, because it led to this sort of great scene where the guy gives this speech to the rest of the Belters, and he says, "Look, we all knew our life was going to be hard. We've had to make tough decisions before. You have to make this choice." And they all kind of get quite quickly that it's 52 or none.
Yeah, it's a case of, they all want to survive, sure, but it's the kids kind of, or none of them. And, you know, they all kind of acknowledge, we'd rather at least some of us survive.
Yeah, it's like all the kids and then some of the younger adults who...
Yeah, because there's going to be some adults with the kids.
Like the one mother's let go, like Naomi makes sure she can go with the kid, kind of thing. They let some young women go, some young men go, and that's it. And you can see the absolute heartbreak in the guy who's last, like the guy who almost gets on, like he's the first one who gets stopped. It's like, no, that's it, that's 52.
Yeah.
He's like, shit. And you almost see it in his eyes. Like, I thought he might start charging, like he might run for it.
Yeah, and you can see the big guys there eyeing him up as well, just in case. He's still holding his stick, going, or he's just watching him.
And it makes for a good moment. It also makes for a good moment when the guy gives his spot up and puts Naomi in the airlock and shuts the door, and he does the whole salute with the fingers.
Yeah.
And I like that moment because you get why he does that, because she made the choice to come off when she didn't need to, and we know that. I mean, Amos obviously morally debatable, and he has to get tranked like 4 times before he lets her pass.
It really takes a lot to put him out, doesn't it?
But several tranks to get past him. Melissa obviously wanted to save people. She was concerned with saving people, but she logically knew that this was kind of impossible. But Naomi believed, against all hope, that there was a chance that she could sort this out. And I think he understood that she took that risk, and that she would be willing to do it again, or she would help more people. That's why he says, "You're not done yet."
Yeah, he understands that she's the one that can be persuasive and has the heart to do it.
Yeah, whereas even if he decides himself right there in that moment that he's going to dedicate himself to also helping people, he doesn't necessarily know that he can do it. Where he's just
he doesn't think he can do as good a job as her.
Yeah, so it's a good moment of sacrifice. It's actually for a group of characters who essentially aren't characters. They're just kind of, they're just people. They're just a group of people. They aren't anyone we know of yet. It was emotionally, it worked.
It did. Music was great for it as well.
Music was great for it as they were leaving and all the rest of it. And as they're going up, like the UN and the Martians are all like, "Yeah, we're going to shoot you. You're not allowed to leave. Like, no ships are allowed to leave." And they're like, "We can't comply. The station's dying. We need to leave." And as of course, you know the Rassie's going to come out at the last second and save them. Like, that's kind of what it's building up to. But it doesn't change the fact that it feels great when it does.
It's a proper fist pump moment when it comes in and just shoots the missile.
And I think part of the reason why it works so well is because Holden has been such a dick all episode, and he hasn't been willing to make compromises. He hasn't been willing to give up his hunt. Yeah. So it even though you really know, because just from a TV writing point of view, there's no way they're not coming in and saving the day at the last minute. But at least from a point of like putting doubt in your head, it works in that sense, because he has been so unrelentless about giving up the hunt.
Yeah, definitely. And then I love seeing Alex's excitement when he shot the missile. He's like, "Yeah, I got it. It's all good."
Yeah. Yeah, no, Alex is always pretty funny as well. He had a couple of lines here that, I mean, most of the time it wasn't that funny because he was dealing with Holden, who was in ultra dick mode.
Yeah.
But he had a couple of good moments towards the end where he's excitement about things, and even when, like, because Holden bluffs with everyone, he's like, "Put me on comms. I'm going to talk to all of them," and he makes a threat, and they all back down.
Even before that, Alex is like, "Oh, here we go again."
Yeah. In fact, that was another moment that made me laugh a lot. Was the "here we go again."
Yeah.
When he asked me to put him on comms, that was pretty funny. But that was it. Obviously, in the final moment is we see there's a hole in the ship, and the proto being is on the ship, which should lead to exciting times for the finale. But no, really good stuff. I think obviously the character stuff is still there, especially for Holden. I think Naomi gets the best of it in this episode, though.
Yeah, her and Holden are definitely the lion's share of it too.
Yeah, in this episode, obviously Amos is there to aid Naomi, and Alex is there to aid Holden, and it's almost like they served like each of the characters are served by them in the opposite way. Whereas, like, if you had Amos with Holden, Amos would be like, "Yeah, let's just keep putting, that's fine." Like,
yeah, they balance the two teams out, so you kind of have one on each side on each team.
Alex is being the conscience for Holden, whereas Amos is trying to be the cold, like, logic person for Naomi. Like they have that balance, and that kind of works. So it works well in that sense. It's pretty straightforward, maybe compared to some of the episodes that have preceded this.
Yeah, but like I said, it's a nice symmetry of it's almost Holden versus Naomi in the sense that they're kind of on opposite sides. He's dedicated to his selfish goal, and she's dedicated to her selfless goal. We've
talked about him repeatedly this season about him losing his humanity and how he keeps trying to fight his way back to it. And this was like a big moment of him getting his humanity back, or at least, if not permanently. I mean, I'm sure he'll still not be the same person he was at the start of season 1. It's like, no, it's still in there. The good's still in him. Not that what he's doing is bad per se. Either,
he still ultimately makes the right call when it comes down to it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he pushes it.
Definitely.
Against the line.
He did make the call.
Yeah. So it's a good fist pump moment when that ship comes in and saves them, and especially when they talk to each other over the. Like I like that Naomi's first words to him was, "You son of a bitch." Like,
I like seeing Amos just completely out of it again. Cool.
Yeah, he's just sort of waking up and he's like, "Oh, okay, let's go back to sleep."
Yeah.
Oh dear. So that was kind of. I mean, it's debatable what the A and B plot is in this show at the best of times, but that was their plot. That was the Ganymede, Darasi, all that stuff. There. Obviously, the political stuff was. We didn't get any Venus this episode. It was all Avasarala with Draper. Obviously, Ehrenreich had his own thing that connected into this as well. Obviously, they kind of heavily hit each other once we get to the end of both of them. But so Avasarala is going to meet Mao. She takes Draper. She takes her, obviously, Coitier. I learned that name Coitier. I learned that last week, and I'm just like, I remember it.
Well done, you. I'd forgotten.
But it's for so long we just kept referring to him as, because at first he wasn't like a main character. He was just the henchman.
Yeah.
And it's over time, obviously, he's become more of a character, and it's just
Yeah.
And it got to that weird point where I was like, "Oh wait, he's kind of important now," and I still don't know his name. But here we are. So they go up, and there was a lot of fun stuff. Avasarala not being pleased that she had to leave Earth, and almost Draper and Coitier having a little bit of fun at her expense, where they kind of. It was actually really nice to see Draper laugh like that. That we haven't seen that, I don't think, yet. She's been so straight faced the entire time that.
And
it just like that moment on the shuttle when Avasarala gets scared and Coitier makes a crack and she laughs there was a nice moment.
Yeah, it's that moment that shows she might be from Mars and they're from Earth, but they're still kind of people at the end of it.
Yeah, and they bond a little bit as well about his past in the military. I say bond, I mean she's kind of chastising him and he's like, "Oh, I was too smart for a Marine." Like there's kind of they're trading blows, but there's almost like we're getting to know each other. Kind of thing to it as well, that they're building up a camaraderie, because even though they might be from the opposite side of the tracks, there's a common enemy when they go up there. Which, by the way, that's actually a lot of small really funny moments. Draper going for the food when they was like, by the way, there's little cucumber sandwiches if you want them, and she just goes over and starts like shoveling them down
straight to it,
and
no hesitation.
I don't know if they've not been feeding her on in the Earth station. Like, what's going on?
Who knows? Maybe she thinks their food's shit. Then again, she's probably on like Martian marine, well, not rations, but like
Aye, like it'll be like protein and
standard food.
vitamins. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
like no taste, just eat it because it has a purpose and
it's
nothing else.
sustenance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like food that's meant to taste good. Oh,
yeah. I can't see the Martian marines being allowed food that tastes good all that much.
not. I mean, not that I'd probably jump for a cucumber sandwich all that much, but
But to be fair, you got to think: can they grow? They can't grow cucumber on Mars,
oh,
so
true. Yeah, maybe they don't have
that
fresh veg and fruit, so maybe
that
that's
would be something for her.
yeah, that's a novelty. Yeah, that's something that's exciting to Draper.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they go, and Mao basically says, all right, okay, right, so Mars is getting the proto-molecule, like, that's just kind of happening, but I want to give it to you too. He basically talks about mutually assured destruction. He eventually calls it that, but he dresses it up in a lot of other terminology first. And she, of course, is skeptical because, you get to benefit from both sides here, and I like how he flips her metaphor, though, because she compares it to, it's like we're the parents and you're the child, and you might have to pick a side one day. He's like, oh no, you've got it wrong. Earth and Mars are the children. I'm the one trying to like stop them from throwing their rattles at each other. Like that was a good. I like how he flips.
I'm
like
inclined to think he's right in this sense.
that. In a weird way, yeah.
Because they're going to, like, the parent is the one that holds the cards usually, and
Also,
they're the one going to him.
If you're going with mutually assured destruction, that's the one that kind of makes sense. Like that's the whole point of that phrase, is that neither side will use, in real world it was nuclear bombs. In this case, it's protomolecule. Like neither side will use it because if they do it, they're both all going to die. It's the same reason why like Holden and the crew even get out of the whole standoff when they're leaving Ganymede. It's like, yeah, you can fire at us, but we're going to send every missile we have to all you, and we're going to hit some of you. Some of you are going to die.
Nice other thematic link there.
Yeah, maybe not as strong as some of the previous weeks, but certainly there.
It's there.
Yeah. But no, and that's all good. Now, of course, this is where the Ehrenreich stuff comes in, is they get a message from Ehrenreich during this conversation. So let's back up and let's talk about Ehrenreich and get back to that point. Ehrenreich, we see he's having these weird doubts. We see him shave. He's been all... That's how you know when someone's contemplating something in a movie or a show. There's looking into the mirror. Sure, he's shaving, so there's a reason for it, but he's still staring into the mirror.
I was a little bit disappointed that he's just got a standard razor. Like I feel like all this advanced technology, and they're still shaving with a regular blade.
I think he makes that choice. He's a man of tradition. I think you can get a fancy laser thing, but he likes to feel the blade in his skin.
Well, that's fair. I'll buy it.
And he cuts himself, the idiot, so maybe he should switch to the fancy laser one. But, so he talks to his son. Actually, if I have any complaints about this episode, is that the actor playing his son was kind of shit.
Yeah, and that we hadn't really seen or heard anything about his son before.
Nah.
So it was just kind of there for the sake of having it was to give him some emotional, sympathy.
Yeah, it wasn't really about the son, it was just about him and what it did for his character. But it's just that he stood out as a pretty shitty actor, to be honest. His reaction to everything Ehrenreich said was kind of weak, which is a shame. But we see him, like, he goes to Viscerella and he's making us, I'll give this medal to my son if I'm not here to do it. Like, he's getting ready to confess, he's getting ready to go through all this process. And we see him write what looks like a suicide note. We don't get a chance to read it, but it looks like he's making some sort of suicide. And he pulls out this little capsule with liquid in it.
Yeah.
And it's really going down this path of, maybe he's like not willing to live with, or at least face the consequences of what he's done.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, that's what it feels like it's setting up. And they pull a pretty good swerve on us, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he goes to Krishnikov, his name was, the Martian ambassador, political guy, who we've seen in the summit, all the rest of it. He's basically,
like he says, the Martian equivalent of him.
Yeah, basically, yeah, the Martian equivalent of him. And he takes him to the opera, and they have this one-to-one over a bottle of whiskey, I think it was. And they're talking about the proto-molecule, they're talking about this, and he like, going back into this mutually assured destruction, it's almost like, he's like, look, if we want peace, we kind of both have to be on equal footing, and if you've got it and we don't, like, he's almost bringing up that argument, and you think he's going down that path. But of course, Kurznikov starts to, die. and I like how the camera lingers on the glass, and we think, has he put the capsule in the glass? Like, we think what he's thinking as well, and then Aaron writes, nah, you're trying to be smart, but you're not. Yeah, I poisoned you like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Like, it already happened.
Because you see him go and take the drink himself.
Yeah. Just to prove it, and then because he mentions that the drugs, like, you engineer it for the specific person, so it doesn't affect anyone else. Yeah. So he takes a drink, he picks up the brochure, from the opera, and that's it. It's like done. And he's like, well, now you don't exist, so I guess I'm the one who wins. And it's kind of like coming back around. It's like almost like the show over the last like 2-3 episodes have been trying to trick us into thinking, oh, maybe he has turned over a new leaf, and maybe he was, maybe he was considering it, maybe he did feel the guilt, maybe he was thinking he's at his end, and somewhere along the way he's realised, no, I've got a way out.
Yeah.
And he's taking this dark path. Like I don't know if he was always going down this path, or if this is no. I've thought of the way to solve this along the way.
Alternatively, it could be a case of he is convinced he's going down regardless. So he's like, well, I've got nothing to lose now.
I think. Well, I think ultimately, if he wins here, he doesn't go down. I think he has Mao by the balls. He's like, okay, like because Mao will be taken in. He'll be the wrath of the government. So will come down on Mao if earn rates like that protect him, because that's why he went to Mars. He went to Kushnikov because, and I realize I'm just kind of quickly saying his name. It could be a generic Russian name I'm saying, but that's why he goes to him, is because he that is the only other person, like you said, he's the Martian equivalent of earn rate. That's why he goes to him. So with him out the game, he has to deal with him, or he has to not have.
He holds all the cards in
there. And it's funny because even at first when this message started playing and he says this to Mao, I'm like, all right, so is this a play? Like, I didn't necessarily think he was going against Avasarala here yet. Like at first it felt like he was just like putting him in his place, and it was dealing with that problem. Because when he switches to Avasarala, he's like, Avasarala, if you're listening to this, you always taught me that Earth comes first. And I thought, even then, to that line, I thought, yeah, this is
still,
him.
Yeah, it's still on that track.
Yeah, but then his true feelings come out, and he blames her. He blames her for putting him in this position. You're using me as one of your pawns, and then he says, like, Mao, deal with this loose end. That's your first order with me now in charge. Is deal with this loose end. And we kind of leave there. We don't really see how this wraps up. We just see the men come in with the guns.
Mao leaves.
Yeah, Mao leaves. Classic shot of the door, shot in his face. Not in his face. You know what I mean? In front of his face. And Cotillard gets up with the gun, and I'm like, Cotillard should give a gun to Draper, goddammit. like she's a Marine.
I find it really interesting. He kind of pulls Draper behind him. Like protecting him. Obviously, he does that with the Vasaralov as well, but that's kind of his job. But I'll really hope that Draper reacts and her training kicks in, and she just grabs a weapon or something.
Yeah, even if she doesn't get to a gun, like I can see her going into full Marine mode. Like she'll be useful, and like I don't think Avasarala is dead at this point. I think obviously they're going to somehow get out of this situation, and I think Draper will be an equal force for.
I think
doing
Katya
that.
might die.
Maybe.
I can see it being, having some consequence. I mean, to this action.
Yeah, to try. And the fact is, it wasn't even Mao that lured them into a trap. It was Ehrenreich who brought the danger to the station.
To give Avasarala even more personal reason to go against him, even, other than just because to a point, I think she can respect that he's just kind of played the political game against her.
I could see Cutter dying. It was almost like I was almost wondering like, will Naomi die? Before she went back in the ship, I was like, are they going to do this and we're going to see her on Ganymede during the finale, and we'll see her last few hours in the finale? Like, because we're hitting the finale, I could buy that a big character might snuff it.
It's the time for it to happen, isn't it?
And now I don't think it'll be Naomi anymore, but I could see someone going in the finale. And Cotillard's maybe not huge, but it would mean something.
It would have ramifications for like Avasarala and even Draper to a degree.
Yeah. I don't think Draper's going anywhere. I feel like Draper's got a long arc ahead of her. I feel like she's on this path to be something.
Agree. I think they've made too much of an effort setting her up throughout the season that, throwing her away now would not be the best thing for them to do. And
ultimately what this does as well is it's like any doubt that Ehrenreich's a son of a bitch, any doubt that he's a complete bastard is now gone. Like, he's an outright villain now.
Yeah. Which is kind of exciting. Gives him a new role to play as well.
It does. It gives, because I almost thought maybe he will commit suicide again. It's a finale type thing. We're hitting the finale next week. He could do this next week. Before we got to the reveal of what was actually going on, the reveal of what he was actually doing. But I'd be interested to go back and read what that letter said. Like, if you could pause it and read what it said. Like, what was it? A suicide note? Like, was he planning on it then and then realised what he could do?
Yeah,
after the fact,
because obviously it doesn't stay on it very long.
Yeah, so
I didn't catch it.
Oh, interesting. But there you go. That's us leading into the finale. So,
do you know what one of my favourite moments was?
Go on.
It was when Avasarala and Draper they were leaving Earth, And Avasarala gives a speech about how, it's easy for a young person to leave without looking back. But these old people, they're tied to this rock. And, like it's not about Earth. It's about like that. That's their home, their memories, and relating that to Mao. I thought that it kind of gives her this link to Mao that wasn't really there before.
Yeah, Korshinov as well said a similar thing. Actually, talks about how the younger generation don't really care about the dream of turning Mars. Like they're used to just growing up in domes and
it's all they've
stations.
known, so they don't realize that it's not just the thing to be.
Certainly not all of them, because Draper's I would count as the younger generation, and she obviously believed in the dream of Mars, but she seemed to be the exception to the rule. All the other Martians didn't seem to be as like all the other Marines she was with didn't seem to be as like, oh yes, this is the dream of Mars
But even her, like, she wasn't willing to go along with the weapon test. She wasn't willing to just let that sit in the cause of the Martian dream. She still had to stand against it.
That said, though, I don't think that's necessarily like I'd like to believe that even some of the older people who believed in the dream would not have crossed that line. Like I don't think that's necessarily a case of just because she's younger. I think that's a case of no, it's not. The dream is the dream, but it's not worth like betraying our own.
I would agree, but like that, maybe the older generation do see it that way. Maybe they see it at any cost.
I mean, we can't really say that without.
We haven't seen enough of them.
Yeah, meeting more of them, but I think that's just a line that would cross for a lot of people. Because I think to me, Draper's the one that sticks out because she was believing, where the rest of the Marines she was with, I mean, obviously they were loyal to the cause, they were loyal to the
they
army.
were more about being a Marine rather than furthering the goal.
Yeah, but was she cared so much about seeing the ocean when she was on Earth? She cared so much about that. She cared so much about experiencing that, and that's something she's dreamed about seeing the ocean. And I think for her, realizing that the dream that she's been like going for her whole life like is kind of betrayed by what our superiors are doing, and betrayed by like, is it worth this kind of thing? And it'll be interesting to see how she develops. I think she is, I mean, there's not been a whole lot of like new characters this season, I suppose, but I think certainly she is a very interesting one. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing where she goes in season 3 and what her journey is.
I think that's what's the most interesting, because our main crew, Holden, Naomi, you can kind of see to a degree what sort of direction they're heading in at this point. Whereas
to an extent,
to an extent, whereas Drape sticks out where it's like, I don't know at all what they're gonna do with her. Like they could go with so many different things that they could do.
I could see her just meeting up with the crew in the Rassi and ended up joining them at some point and being like a force against the protomolecule. I could see her sticking with the Avasarala and being like hard soldier, like especially if Cotillard goes, like does Draper then become her like just
a replacement?
Replacement, but I'm just thinking like the person who can punch things for her, like because obviously
it's kind of like personal guard.
Yeah, like does she become loyal to Avasarala because she believes in like
Avasarala's actually trying to stop it for she's actually doing the right thing here.
And it's not about her getting... Like, if Avasarala doesn't want it for Earth, like at least nothing we've seen of her implies she just wants the protomolecule for Earth's own gain.
Well, no, because if she did, she would have just taken Mao's deal and gone, sure, we'll have it, Mars can have it.
No, absolutely, yeah. And
it would have been easy.
And Draper's witnessed this. She's been there and she's seen it firsthand, so she knows that she's not just out for the gain of that. So, it's good stuff. I have no idea how the finale's ending next week.
No, me either.
I have zero idea where we're leaving off.
All I know is it's going to be a huge cliffhanger.
Yes, I'm positive of that.
Because we've had, 4 or 5 in a row now with big cliffhangers.
And they're not going to give us a neat ending for the finale, because we know we're getting season 3. They know they've got the secured green light, they've got the renewal. They know they can give us a cliffhanger and not worry about it. So we're probably going to get a cliffhanger, which is going to feel like pain for a year as we wait for the new season.
Yep, pretty much.
But another strong episode of Expanse. Looking forward to the finale next week. So come back for that. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on Twitter, @meld_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. But that's us, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Have you got any vanilla?